Hello, I'm Michael Boyajian, and I'm going to be talking about one of my Mike and Jerry books today. This one is titled Into the Occult World, Our Beloved Journeys. And it's more of a Halloween book than anything else. And it just talks about our experiences in that season of the year, which we're approaching this weekend, October, and the season of the witch. And I think the first thing I would touch on is Edgar Allan Poe. And naturally, you knew about Edgar Allan Poe from, since you were a kid in school. But in college, I ended up, my first semester, I took a class on mystery writers. And wouldn't you know it, he was the first person we studied in the syllabus. Okay, so, I had in-depth knowledge of Edgar Allan Poe. Anyhow, when Jerry and I started dating and then got married and lived in Brooklyn, we both had a thing for Edgar Allan Poe. And one day in the city, I forgot what the celebration was about, but they had a all-day group number of events celebrating Edgar Allan Poe. So we started the day out at his home in the Bronx, the Edgar Allan Poe Cottage. It's in a little park, and that was his last home, and he wrote his last couple of books there, and he lived there with his wife and his mother-in-law. And from there, he took his faithful journey down to Baltimore, from which he never returned. I won't go into the details of that, but that's a mystery unto itself. He was shouting out something, and they could never figure out what it was, and then he died. But anyhow, there was also, a restaurant that had a celebration that we went to, and another event was up in Beacon at Howland Center. Some of the Shakespeare on the Hudson actors came in and did a narrative of some of Poe's works, and I don't know, it was just a terrific day, really. Other Halloween events are, of course, going to Salem. We prefer going to Salem outside of October, just because it gets so packed in October, but it's still so much fun, you can't resist. But one time we took a Learning Annex trip there. They had about 10 buses in Manhattan, and you were assigned a bus, and all the buses headed down to up to Salem. And we got there, and we were the lead bus, and the driver said, "Does anyone know how to get into Central Salem?" And I volunteered my assistance, having been there 1,000 times, and got us right into Central Salem. And they parked in front of this courtyard that had a number of Halloween attractions in it. And that's where you were supposed to stay all day, apparently. Jerry and I just took off. We knew the town so well, we just took off, and I think we went up to the Peabody Essex Museum and then poked around from there, the Witch House, and over to even as far as the Seven Gables House, and then some of the shops Jerry liked to go to. There's one particular shop right on the waterfront there. And in any event, everyone else was stuck there and had a terrible time because they didn't know where to go. And it was about nearly a riot breaking out. And the entire bus ride home, they were shouting, "We want a refund." For 4 hours, we're hearing this, So, anyhow, that was just one recent Salem trip. The other Salem trip, we always hit this lobster shanty where you can get a lobster roll sandwich that's piled really high and inexpensive. Unfortunately, it ended up on one of those food shows on TV and became super popular, and the owner sold it for a fortune and went on. And the new owners cut back on the size of the sandwich and raised the prices. So that took care of that. But Salem's still a lot of fun, and the Peabody Essex House, just to give you some inside information, inside, and you're not allowed to take pictures of it, is an actual Chinese home. I guess from the 19th century, and it's inside the museum, actually, and it's beautiful. It's wood, and you can actually see the beautiful layout the Chinese had for their homes. And you can walk around there, but you just can't take pictures. You can sneak one in this day of phone cameras, but The other thing that they have, well, of course, is exhibits regularly. They recently had one the last time we were there, a famous heavy metal musician's collection of horror movie memorabilia. It was terrific. It's Alive, I think, was the name of the show. And they also have a house tour. And in addition to that, they have 3 homes that they take you to. And what you learn is that the age of the home is deciphered by the size of the windows. As the society in Salem and elsewhere in the U.S. Grew more affluent 200-300 years ago, the size of windows increased until you have your windows today. And even in the homes that they show you, there's of course from the witch era, the tiny little windows, medieval. It was medieval. And then they moved up a little bit to a little larger, and finally, although it's maybe a 150, 200-year-old home, the windows are almost regular size as today. The other thing we used to do is St. John's Divine Cathedral in Manhattan, and there they had the procession of ghouls, and they had the famous puppeteers there that have the giant puppets, and they climb up the walls of the cathedral and have all kinds of music. It's a terrific place. And just to skip a season ahead, around the holiday season, they have the Paul Winter Consortium performing his solstice program. Terrific. We've seen it so many times. He's so terrific. So festive. And of course, the other Halloween thing, of course, was the Halloween parade, which we've been to many times. And that's always a lot of fun. Just the things that go on in that parade are amazing. So basically, that's about a good covering of events. I'm sure I left out a lot, but happy Halloween.